What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astro DFS bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, I'm just going over the Thursday night showdown on DraftKings and Fanduel. If you haven't seen any of these videos before, I basically just go back and forth on the sites, compare prices and some opportunities, and just talk players. Just gives insight for guys that don't use one side or the other, and consider the options. Maybe there's a player you really like tonight, but he's too expensive on one site and it's very hard. You look on another site and he's cheaper. So this is the video for you. Then I hope you enjoy. If you do, by the end of this, find this helpful, just leave a like and subscribe. Try to upload content on all my off days. So look forward to that. So let's just get into it. So we have the Saints on the road against Arizona. And on paper, this looks like Arizona should win this game easily. Their offense has not been great, don't get me wrong. But New Orleans has a lot of injuries. So going over on the New Orleans side, we already know that Michael Thomas is out. We know that Jarvis Landry is out. We know that Adam Troutman is out. So 3 starters basically that we know are out for the Saints. Olave is in, and then we have to figure out who's going to be the quarterback for the Saints tonight. If Jameis is in, I like Jameis more than Andy Dalton as far as fantasy points. You look at what he's done against Atlanta, had a pretty good secondary. He was able to expose Atlanta's secondary in that second half. The game against Tampa Bay, just tried to get the team back into it. Didn't really solve that. And then against Carolina, who that game was just a shit show is the easiest way to say it. But still, 3 fumbles in 3 games. But the amount of fantasy points he's put up compared to Andy Dalton is pretty night and day. Andy Dalton is managing the game a lot better. But if you look at the yards for Andy Dalton, it's not just Andy Dalton. You look at like Taysom Hill and what Taysom Hill is being involved. It's a lot different. Now on the Arizona side, we are getting DeAndre Hopkins back. This is the moment that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, especially if you're a Cardinals fan, to see if D-Hop is what's missing out of this offense. Because if this offense clicks tonight, then you go, yeah, like it's been the missing piece. But if it doesn't and there's problems, then you're probably looking at a coaching change coming up soon. Whether it be during the year or in the offseason, you're probably looking at a coaching change because this team is not progressing. So the big thing for me is whoever the quarterback is for New Orleans, regardless, I'm probably staying away. I think Alvin Kamara is the guy to go after, clearly. And with Andy Dalton, you're seeing him get targets, which is why you always like Alvin Kamara in fantasy. It wasn't because he rushed well, because he did. We all knew that. But he got targeted a lot with Drew Brees. His last 3 games he's played, yes, one of them had Jameis in it. The lowest is 6. Now, week 5, he has that explosive game where he gets almost 200 combined yards. But the thing that stands out for me is Alvin Kamara these last 2 weeks has been able to put up 18 and 27 fantasy points without any touchdowns. The Cardinals' rush defense is still pretty good. It is not terrible in any way, and it is not saying that it's a bad matchup, but I believe this is a game where the Saints rely on Kamara. The Saints are going to be down 2 offensive linemen. The Cardinals are going to be down some offensive linemen. The Saints might be down Ramczyk. He's somebody that I would check to see the injury status on. If he plays, it's a lot different. But if he's out, you're talking the Saints being down 2 of their starting tackles, which is scary against J.J. Watt. So that's something to definitely watch out for. But to me, I love the Arizona side on tonight's slate. I'll just click over on Arizona. We could do it on FanDuel as well. You obviously have Kyler as the most expensive player on the slate on both sites and on Arizona. Then you get D-Hop at 10-2 on DraftKings. On FanDuel, 12-5. So I think, in my opinion, that's a little bit of a value. I know it doesn't scream value because he's that much, but for what he's able to produce, that's value to me. So after D-Hop, we already know Marquise Brown is probably out for the season, unfortunately for him. James Conner is the question mark for the Arizona side. If he's in, I mean, what do you make out of that? The Saints have a very good rush defense, really good against the run, and Arizona uses their running backs. If Eno Benjamin is the guy, then do you play Eno Benjamin, who, I mean, nothing really explodes or like says anything. He gets 14.3 points against Philly in Week 5, but I mean, 8 for 25 on the run, 3 receptions, 28 yards, and a touchdown, which basically saves him as that touchdown. So it doesn't really scream like a must play here against a New Orleans Saints team that plays very well against, very good against the run, against the running back at that. So then you get Zach Ertz on Fanduel. He's 10, and on DraftKings he's 7. So he's still up there. And then we go down and we get Rondell Moore. And on Fanduel, you go past the defenses and kickers. On DraftKings, you're just going past the quarterbacks. He's above the kickers and defenses. But Rondell Moore is another guy to me that I want to play tonight. They're attempting to use him more lately, as you could see. 18 targets in his last 2 games, which is crazy. That is what you want. And we saw what happens when DeAndre Hopkins is on the field. We saw what it looks like without DeAndre Hopkins. And when he's on that field, he makes teams scheme for him. Like, you have to. He's one of the best receivers. But the interesting thing here is the Saints are going to be down some corners. Marshawn Lattimore is already ruled out. Roby might be ruled out, and that's something else to watch out for. If he's ruled out, the Saints are down 2 of their starting corners. But in today's NFL, who knows? The Buccaneers couldn't score on the Steelers without all of their starting corners, so I don't know. But to me, the Cardinals side, DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray, Zach Ertz, Rondell Moore, the defense, that's really it for me. You have Greg Dortch and AJ Green, but look at what Dortch has done since the beginning of the season. Looked very well. Looked like a must-have in fantasy. Looked like someone was really promising, and then they just kind of writ him out of the playbook. And with that, you get AJ Green starting to get some more opportunities, but not that much. So for me, if you're playing Arizona guys, definitely Kyler, definitely D-Hop. Zach Ertz is, yes, if you could get to it, the Saints still play very well against tight ends. But Rondell Moore. Those are my 3 key ones on Arizona. On FanDuel, we'll go, 9,000, 12.5, and 17. And let's get to the Saints side. And there's a little more value, but not that much. So, I already mentioned Kamara is definitely a play for me tonight. I really like him. If I can get a Kyler, D-Hop, Kamara stack, I'm going to try to get that. Chris Olave is playable for me, no matter who his quarterback is. Him being the number 1 receiver now with Michael Thomas and Landry out for this game, he becomes the number 1 receiver for that team, and has just looked very well. The touchdowns kind of add on his last 2 weeks against Seattle and Minnesota. Like I said, playing a very banged up, very shaky secondary in Arizona. And the only thing you have to watch out for is the concussion thing. If he gets hit in the head, he's probably going to be out for the rest of the game. Probably miss a week, 2 at that. So hopefully he stays healthy. Taysom Hill, it's a game where the Saints I can't believe 4 touchdowns. He wasn't even the starting quarterback. They had him throw 1 time for a touchdown, ran 9 times for 122 yards and 3 touchdowns. Taysom Hill is definitely a play. He's not a play to where I want to get Taysom Hill in my lineup. I don't want to play him at all. I want to play Chris Olave. I want to play Traquan Smith. I want to play Marquez Callaway. I want to play those guys. I don't want to play Taysom Hill. But there's a chance the Saints do what the Saints do when they need to get some weird points, and they use Taysom Hill. They find a way. Watch quarterback situation. If it's Jameis, I'm staying away from Taysom. If it's Dalton, Taysom becomes playable for me. Unfortunately, nothing against Taysom Hill at all. He's definitely going to be a talked about player of just utilization for a player, but it's definitely interesting. So Chris Olave, Marquez Callaway, and Juwan Johnson here at 3,000 on FanDuel. We look at them. We'll go to the Saints side. Kamara at 15, Olave at 11, and then we go all the way down 6,500 for Juwan Johnson against one of the worst defenses against tight ends. They just, for some reason, every other year the Cardinals are very bad against tight ends, and with Adam Troutman already out, you know Juwan Johnson's going to get more snaps. So those are my plays. I'll plug stuff in and see how it goes. See if we can make a line just out of some of the players we talked about and see how that goes. So we get Juwan Johnson in there. I mentioned Rondell Moore. We like him. We get him in there. We like Chris Olave. Let's get him in there. Then can we afford our big name players? I don't think so out of this alone. No, nowhere near. So we would have to kind of put somebody else in there. So let's say we put Rondell Moore as our captain. Let's see if we could do that. Obviously, we want Juwan Johnson back in. We want Olave. We want D-Hop. We want Kamara. And we can't get Murray. So that's going to be interesting to see. That's kind of what I like. Clearly, see if I plug him in. I mean, the only thing that I could possibly do and see if it works is we're going to plug Juwan Johnson in as captain. And then let's try to get Rondell Moore. And then we get Kyler Murray. You hope Juwan Johnson pops off, though. So I don't think that's the greatest thing to really attack. Let's do it on FanDuel, see what we can make. Let's just put Murray as the top player. Want Kamara too. Juwan Johnson, yet again, is going to be our value guy. Always want to get some type of value guy. We want to get Rondell Moore. And, oh my God. That's the line. Just play it. Just play it. For me, just play it. I love it. I love it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like I said in the beginning, just leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. If you guys want to join us, the link for that will be in the description down below. Join our Discord. So, if you guys are interested in that, just click the link. And I will see you guys in the next one.